Why did we learn about the Lewis and Clark expedition? Why was it so important?
Great question. In 1800, there were about 5,300,000 people living in the United States, compared to the 341,393,000 people living here in 2025. To get an idea of how many fewer people that was, this column shows the population in 1800, and this is how many people live in the U.S. now. 2/3 of those people lived within 50 miles of the Atlantic Ocean. Yep, in this little slice of land right here. The country was smaller back then, too, an area of 850,000 square miles. When Thomas Jefferson paid France for another 828,000 square miles, it almost doubled the size of the United States. None of these states had been part of the United States before 1803. North Dakota, South Dakota, Iowa, Kansas, Nebraska, Oklahoma, Missouri, Arkansas, Louisiana, and most of Montana, Wyoming, Colorado, and Minnesota, and parts of New Mexico and Texas. In 1803, Florida and the Southwest states were claimed by Spain, and the Northwest was claimed by both the United States and the British. But that's a whole different story. So, Thomas Jefferson had bought this whole area that was going to become the Central and Western states. No one on the East Coast was really sure what was out there. Some people even thought they'd find woolly mammoths. Back then, radio, television, cameras, computers, the internet, and cell phones didn't exist. There were only 3 ways to learn about any place beyond your own home. 1, go there yourself. Planes, cars, and railroads didn't exist yet, so imagine how long that would take. 2, you could talk to someone who had been there. But few people from the new country of the USA had traveled as far as the Mississippi River. 3, read a book or look at a map by someone who had been there. Today, we refer to these documents as primary sources. A document made by someone who actually saw an event or place, that is, they didn't just hear about it from somebody else, is called a primary source. You can't make a map of a place if you haven't been there. This is where William Clark's skills came in as a cartographer, that is, a person who makes and studies maps. Merriwether Lewis contributed more as a biologist, a person who studies living things. He described 178 new plants and 122 new animals not known by people east of the Mississippi. Of course, Indigenous people were already living in this region. The Hidatsa contributed to our knowledge of agriculture. Many tribes, including the Dakota and Lakota, had knowledge of medicinal uses of plants that we still use today. The most famous Native American Lewis and Clark met was their interpreter, a Shoshone woman named Sakakajawea, who made the whole journey carrying her baby on her back. Choose one of these perspectives to learn about math and science along the Lewis and Clark Trail.